Peter, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
How's things?
Yeah, very good.
It's good. It's good to see you. I've not seen you for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Back in the old Bet Racing Nation days.
Yeah, BRN's back, isn't it?
Yeah, but in a different format.
I know. No, listen, I had some great times at BRN. Learnt a lot. Met a lot of good people, obviously, as yourself. But just let me know. I mean, why are you bringing it back?
Well, we started Bet Racing Nation back in 2012, I think it was.
Was that long ago, was it?
I think it was.
Yeah, back in my university days, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people moved on in racing, which is great. They've got good jobs, and it fortunately led me to get a good job with Racecourse Media Group, which is part of Turf TV, then at the races. And at the races really was the point where I thought to myself, you know, it's time to do this, bring it back, but bring it back in a different format, because there I was at the races, travelling, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, travelling to Milton Keynes, very much on the proviso that when they move down to Sky, there'll be a role for you. It didn't happen.
It didn't materialise for you, did it?
Yeah, and when you get to my age, 50, let's be realistic. If you're going to work in the race industry, you need to either know a trainer, you need to be friends of a trainer, or friends of a producer, or friends of someone who runs an organisation. So the opportunities are limited.
Yeah, one thing I would agree with you. I do think that there is a lot of nepotism within the industry. I mean, I think it's quite strife. Myself, I found it very difficult to gain entry into the industry. A lot of doors closed and some doors open for certain individuals. But obviously, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Bet Racing Nation. I had a lot of good experiences doing that, and obviously you gave me an opportunity as well, sort of gave me a bit of exposure within the industry, and obviously you've been very successful. You've moved on, you got a couple of gigs within the industry with Turf TV, a bit of, was it Racing UK at the races?
Yeah, a bit of that, presenting, producing, helping to produce all sorts of different things. And as you'd be aware, that over the last 14 months whilst working, put up the tips in the morning.
Yeah, you've been lining a lot of people's pockets, haven't they?
Absolutely.
And a few.
But don't tell them about the bad months.
I know.
Because apparently you have a bad month every month of the year. But people will gamble, realise, and the sensible people realise that you're going to have your bad months. But yes, you're right. Last 15 months, every bet put up beforehand. Not many tipsters do that. No. And even when you've lost, you've got to admit to yourself, you're on a bad run. You've lost. And I've taken a couple of days off here and there as well. But over the year, it's about making money, and that's what we'll do. It's
all about long-term profit. And obviously, I know for a fact, I know you quite well, you are completely transparent about all the bets you put up. It's all there to see. And as you say, there's so many tipsters out there, and I think a lot of them will agree, you're not going to win every month. It's about long-term profit. And obviously, you started up last week, and I know you had a 50-1 winner. Not many people can say that. How was your heart rate coming to the last?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that was good. Because it gives you, it sort of approves what you're doing in a way, and shows that you're not trying to mug people off.
Of course.
Yes, people will make reference to the fact that I've posted before. I've even done a programme on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
About why I pay for tipsters. So it's not something that you can hide behind. It's something that I've posted up before as well. You can't hide behind that. What people fail to put up is, I've always insisted, if you find yourself out of work, it's different. And why should I not do something that I love doing, but makes people money? If it made people a loss, I wouldn't be doing it. People wouldn't be subscribing either if it would make people a loss. People are not stupid. People can feed them information that people know. And luckily, I've got a very loyal, I was going to say fan base. It's not a fan base, but it's a base. I've got a very loyal base that know that over a period of time, we've won.
Yeah, one thing I would say is there is a lot of tipsters, or so-called tipsters on social media, and I'd probably say 95% of them are not profitable. There's a lot of negativity around, and for some reason you get targeted quite a lot by a lot of the trolls. But as I say, you know, I can understand why you're charging people. I mean, you're an innovative sort of guy. You created Bet Racing Nation from nothing.
But it's all about it's not just going to be that. Like, we're doing this podcast here, which you know, over time we're going to do a lot more podcasts. And it's all about giving people an informed decision on my part on why they should go for a selected horse. But there'll be a lot more different things. It won't just be, let me take your money and run. Bookmakers, I don't want them to benefit just like you and me. You know, I want them to be able to go in and put a bet on and win money. Simple as that.
The thing is, it's a win-win as well, because, as you see, you have a lot of affiliates on social media as well, and they actively want people to lose. I think it's quite a moral in a way. Whereas for your
some
instance,
of these big ones have just been recently bought out by major companies.
Yes, I think it's certainly something that needs to be looked at, and that's just from my point of view. But for example, I mean,
how can it be right that someone can earn a percentage
25%,
on a lifetime?
Yeah,
25% lifetime. That company that's got you signed up to any bookmaker will make a lifetime gain on your losses.
I think it's quite questionable, if you ask me. I mean, obviously, I know the Gambling Commission are sort of coming down, and obviously, I mean, they're coming down and they're getting a lot stringent with customers. Obviously, I know that from obviously working within the industry, and obviously, in a way, a lot of people working this, you're sort of people's care workers in a way as well. I mean, there's a bit to both side of it, you know. There's a flip side to it, but if you're looking on the subscription point of view, right, it's in your interest for people to win, because you're backing these selections. You're not wanting to chuck money away, and and I know you quite well. You like other people to win as well. And
do you know what? I get more nervous now, I think, the fact that I'm charging people than I did before, because it's important for me that people win money over the year. What good is it to me if people subscribe for a week, a month, or a year and they lose? They are just going to walk away and go, you know, you don't know what you're doing. So I have to be more selective now. It's a matter of having to be more selective. I spend 2-3 hours a night irritating my wife, ignoring my grandchildren sometimes when they come over, by looking over these races while the TV's on. The TV's on, I don't even know what is being shown.
You're wired on the phone.
Absolutely, and you focus because, or on your laptop or whatever, you're looking over races. It's not just a matter of looking at who's won the last race, who finishes second. You have to look at who finished who finished 8th, who finished 10th down the field. Why did it finish 10th down the field? Was it given a good run? You know, what jockey is now riding this horse compared to what jockey rode it last time? It's very complex.
There's so many variables, isn't there? And I think that a lot of punters, they focus on the last two jumping the last. I mean, the two in front. I mean, whereas, say it's a maiden or a novice, for example. I mean, the horses you should be looking at are the ones who may have been given a quiet ride, or as we'd say, today's not the day. They're the ones
what do you call them?
for.
Educational.
Educational, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the sort of ones.
You can see it, the jumpers, can't you? You know, these novice races, the 3 or 4 fancied ones go out in front. The others are at the back.
I think Ireland's very bad for that.
Yeah, you could be right.
I mean, you've got to follow the market in Ireland.
Yeah,
certainly.
but it's amazing that you look at these things and you look to see, you know, how is the jockey. I can't believe the people that watch these stewards don't pick this up more.
Do you think it's the price? Do you think, for example, if a six, obviously, you could just imagine, I mean, a 6-4 shot's given, as you say, an educational ride. You could just imagine social media exploding, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And you see it with certain jockeys. If you type the jockey's name in on the search result on Twitter, I mean, it's just complete nonsense, isn't it?
You're focusing. The novice and maiden races, you've got to look at the top end of the market.
Yeah.
When they come into handicap company, I think it's a different ball game, and you've got to know what to bet on. There's, you know, funny enough, the 50-1 wasn't a novice race, but generally the top end of the market.
Do you think that was a mistake just on the bookmakers' end, that the price was completely wrong? Do you just think they were ignorant towards it and they were just focusing on the big guns in the race?
Well, absolutely. You had a race where you had a Nicky Henderson hot pot in the race. You had I think it was a Tristan Davis one, the second favourite. Yeah. But they were at the top of the market based on how they won before. Yeah. So he had a 50-1 shot. It was basically six lengths behind, trained by McPherson.
He's a good trainer.
Very good trainer, very good form, you know, and it had every chance of being in the first 3. Fortunately for me, the first week of the subscription side, it won. But it had every chance of being in the first 3.
See, when you're talking about those sort of races, I mean, are you targeting maidens and novices? Are you looking at handicaps? Because as I say, we know a lot of people from us in the Billy Blakemans of the world.
Yeah.
He's into his handicaps. Have you sort of changed your approach?
I have changed my approach. And I've also changed the fact of the way I bet, because I think a lot of people make the mistake of seeing a 6-4 shot. Say your budget's £50, 6-4 shot, 8-1 in another race. If you fancy the 8-1, why are you putting £10 on it?
And then they have 40 on the 6-4 shot.
Yeah. Why are you doing that? You've got to...
There is a staking plan. It's very important.
It's very important. And every bet that you see from me, I mean, I'm being more selective now, but it will range from, say, 15 to 40 probably maximum.
Okay.
the £30-35 mark, you've got to stick that on a 7 to 8 to 1 shot if you fancy it. You can't go, I'll have a 5 on that and 25 on a 6 to 4. And you're not going to be that rich if you keep backing favourites.
Because the thing is, when that 7 to 1 shot cops, if you've got the same amount on that as you would have a 6 to 4, that's how you get ahead.
Absolutely.
And I was taught that from a professional gambler as well. That's the way to go.
Absolutely. I mean, you see my bets. If people used to say to me, why aren't you backing it each way? I mean, I tend to be probably a little bit more conservative now in terms of if it was 10, 12 to 1, I might back that each way, which I wouldn't have done a year ago. But a win's a win, you know. You've got £30 on 14 to 1 shot, you've got £450.
Exactly.
You know, why are you sticking a 5 on it? Because you're going to kick yourself. If it wins, you're going to yourself, why don't you put that little bit of money on it? Stick to a staking plan, important, but don't be influenced by price. Don't go, I've got £100 on evens, but I'm going to have a tenner on a 14 to 1 shot.
See the site. How's it going so far?
Going really well. It's all about progression. The first step was the subscription side. I fully understand, you know, people make the point that, I mean, I've done programs on why should you pay tipsters. I've obviously posted up that it's been put back up again about not paying for tipsters. But what has been missed out is, you know, the point about being out of work, which I have posted. I said if people find themselves out of work, well, you know how difficult the racing industry is.
Yeah.
If you've got the knowledge of that,
you can understand.
You are providing a service, and this Bet Racing Nation Club is not just about subscribing. People can decide if they want to subscribe or not. To be honest with you, if they do, great, we'll have a fun ride. I'm pretty sure they're going to win money over the year. But for me, it's about all the other aspects, the podcast, the previews, the radio side of things, the TV side of things that we're going to be doing, you know, syndicates and all sorts of things during the next 12 months. We've only been going a week.
Yeah, I know. And obviously you had a great start. And obviously we have had a conversation, so obviously stuff I can't sort of put into detail just now, but it does look very good. The future looks good. There's a lot of good ideas, obviously things coming out. And obviously just for example, looking at your Twitter page, I mean, you've got a huge fan base, and I know some people are appreciative of what you do, and obviously you're going to get your trolls doing anything, and any tipster will say that.
I think what you've got to focus on though is the fact that I've had the Bet Racing Nation Twitter since 2013. Fortunately for me, I've got a lot of people that actually go back to the days that we were doing the TV stuff and know that we did a lot of good stuff on there for people. So it's not a matter of just people that have joined in the last 6 months and people that want to dig you out. You know, that's life. They've lost out this week. They've lost out about £700.
Yeah, there probably was a few upset people, wasn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
I did notice the traffic had certainly calmed down a bit after that one I'd won, but I was obviously really glad it had happened for you because you put the work in, and obviously you got your reward. Obviously we talked about, I mean, you spend 2-3 hours a day. I mean, that's a lot of work, you know, and you're sort of giving people.
And not only that, you've got to watch every race as well. That's don't forget that you're not only studying of an evening, the 2 or 3 hours, you're watching every single race during the day. People go, well, why would you watch a race if you don't have a bet on it? You've got to keep a foot of exactly what's going on.
Do you know one thing as well? Is an interesting question I want to ask you. Do you think people within the industry, being people, obviously traders for example, do you think they're following your tips, for example?
I think they were in mass at certain points. If you've got a good run of fortune and you've got a good spell, those prices were being dropped,
especially
quite considerably.
Bumpers, I did notice that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you've got 33 to 1, 25 to 1 that goes into 12s, and you've got however many thousand viewing that particular post. It only takes, you know better than I do in the working the trading side, how many people that takes to produce the price. I think what we're finding here is now we've got a club going, is it being more selective, and the people will find that they'll get on at the price, and I'm not too sure they were getting on the price before. And there are some good tipsters on there, you know, if people want to follow a free tipster, that's fine. It's not an issue. I get on with a couple of very good ones that are online, and they can be found. But for me, it's about, this is a business for subscribers. It's important for me that everyone that subscribes makes money. There is no point in doing this if people over the long term lose.
Yeah, I know.
You've got to stick with it.
Yeah, obviously I know you personally, and I know that's not your intention at all. Your intention is to make money, obviously, and make other people money. Are you having difficulty getting on now, just out of interest?
Well, I've got a Paddy Power restricted account. All the other accounts have long gone. The worst one, and I will publicise this because it irritated me so much, was with Betway. I had 6 bets with them. The second one won, 5-1 into 6-4, and the final one won 33-1 into 18s, and they restricted me. So you've got to be mindful of betting companies who basically want people to bet on every single race.
So what? Yeah, obviously I know that as well from working in the trading side of it. That's sort of the desire punter, isn't it, for the bookmakers?
Yeah, but I mean, I'd also say that Sky Bet, Ladbrokes, Bet365, all those I cannot bet with. And if you see a bet, and the good thing about what I've done over the past 14 months is every bet has been put up before. So win, lose or draw, I get stick for losing, but I never hide behind it. If I lose, it's lost. And those slips, fortunately, were put on by friends of mine. I'd say in the morning, could you put this on? So, new things like Bet Connect that we know and the exchanges, I think that will help both pro punters and the normal punter to get a bet on, because I think it's becoming ridiculous, to be honest.
I think that Bet Connect's a great idea, and I really hope it takes off, because I think it's sort of in place to help people like yourself to fill a void. But obviously, they need people on board to be able to get the bets on. And I do. Can I
ask you one question before we end?
Yeah.
You work in the trading side.
Yeah.
What irritates the bookmaker more than anything?
The price. Everything is
revolved around. Get the price wrong.
Yeah, everything is revolved around the Betfair price. I mean, if you want.
So if you get someone who's backed something at 33s and it's 14s, do you go, oh, we missed that one?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, everything is around the Betfair SP, and I think that for me, I think that could be a problem long term, because I think the liquidity on the machine is gradually getting sieved out. Because obviously you have your Bet Connect, you have your Bet.dat, Ladbrokes Exchange, you've got S Markets, for example, and overnight, for example, I know for a fact if you put a selection up overnight, even if it's 20 quid, 30 quid, you're a cheap mark for, say, your Bet365s, in that there's no liquidity on Betfair, because all these guys are doing is they're watching Betfair. And they're taking a chance. They say you're putting something at 33s, and then if you back it at 20s, they know that price is wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're backed at, say, on the show, they'd be happy to lay you. I mean, they're not really.
It's the uncertainty. It's the uncertainty, isn't it?
There's too much reliant on the
One thing
SP.
I think I can do is read a race. And I liken it to be a poker player. You get the best poker players at the top end of the top end are always there, but you need your luck. You have a pair of aces and still lose. You're jumping. A horse can fall out in front of something else that the horse might not come out the stalls. But what you're doing is you're banking on the best opportunity and the best race in that race.
I mean, last time I played poker, I went all in with 3 queens and I still lost.
Well, there you go.
It's just my luck, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, Pete, it's been great catching up with you. And I'm sure we'll do some more podcasts. We'll maybe do one on Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the issues going on with Cheltenham right now.
Fantastic.
But it was great to speak to you.
Yeah, well, thanks very much indeed, Marcus.
Cheers, Pete.
All the best.
Bye now.